Welcome back, Husker fans. Hope you all are having a good week so far. I'm your host, Jake Brown, Huskers in Kansas City. You guys see my new flag behind me? How about that? Decorating the place up a little bit. All right, so I've got some topics to get into, 5 total. Kicking it right off, Ndamukong Suh. Most of you remember this guy if you're old enough like me. One of the best defensive linemen of all time. Love to see this. This was a total surprise when I heard the other day. Very deserving. I mean, he was a finalist for the Heisman Trophy in 2009, came in 4th. I'll never forget this dude. 2008 and 2009 were his best years, junior and senior seasons, but that 2009 season was one that people won't ever forget. So my favorite Suh memories, there's a lot of them. I had to pick 2. The first, 2009 in Columbia, Missouri. Blaine Gabbert was the quarterback that decommitted, 5-star, decommitted from Nebraska, committed to Mizzou, and it was the first matchup against him. And Suh had his coming out party. It was a monsoon. Rain was coming down like crazy. Both teams were in the top 25, and we had a fourth quarter comeback. Offense did nothing first 3 quarters. Defense was pretty much keeping us in the game thanks to Suh. We ended up winning 27-12 with a big fourth quarter comeback. Niles Paul caught a couple touchdowns late, but I got a couple videos I want to show you on this game. Let me share my screen. Hang on. Here we go. Almost had an interception there. It was 9-0. Here they make it 12-0. So 12-0 at the start of the fourth quarter. Let's speed it up a little bit. So we score, long touchdown to Niles Paul. Here we go. And then right after our first touchdown, you see how the rain was just coming down. The camera's all messed up. Look at this play by Suh. Jumped up, picked it off. We get the ball back. Next play, we throw another touchdown to Niles Paul. Let you guys see this. I mean, he was everywhere in this game, Suh. This was like the game where it was his coming out party. Everyone started to hear his name, started to find out who this kid was. And then look, the very next play, who do you think we go to? Niles Paul, baby. Inconsistent with his hands, but he was a good player in his 4-year career. Huskers get the W. I'll never forget that game because of the dramatic win, but also I was sick the next day. Got the flu, terrible flu, was throwing up for like a week. I was in bed, couldn't barely do anything. And that win and everybody talking about Suh kept me positive, man. My second favorite memory, of course, 2009 Big 12 championship game. The controversial 1 second left on the clock. Huskers lose by 1 point in the final second. Texas goes to Pasadena, as Brent Musburger said. Here, let me show you this. Suh nearly single-handedly beat Texas by himself. This was the performance that people will remember when they think of Suh. My God, I remember my older brother was calling him Ndamukong Suh after this game.
First down and 10, and McCoy's going to put it back up on first down.
There's his first sack of the game. And our whole defense dominated this game. I mean, I think Texas finished with like 212 yards of offense. So everybody was kicking ass, but nobody on the Texas offensive line could block Suh. Watch the effort here of Suh. Look at the hit. Boom. I love how fired up Pelini got.
From the 31.
Suh with one arm. I mean, he looked like, kind of did look like Donkey Kong with how big his arms were and his head. I mean, he was just an imposing player. Look at him. Look at that. One arm, he takes down Colt McCoy. I mean, God, I miss him so much. We need to get Suh a part of the Nebraska football program, pursue him as a coach. I doubt we'll ever get him in that capacity because of his business portfolio, but can you imagine if we had Suh as a coach on this team? Look at that. That's the most memorable play ever for him. The throwdown of Colt McCoy. Look at how strong you have to be to do this. Boom! Get on the ground. All right, Suh was probably my favorite Husker of all time. Had to give him some love. So love to see that he got inducted. Good for him. Topic 2. Gosh. I think Mike Ekeler is getting poached by USC, guys. There's rumors that he's being offered the linebacker job or linebackers coach job at USC. They're also offering him more money. He didn't accept the pay increase we offered him halfway through the year as the special teams was tremendously better year over year. So that kind of makes sense. He probably was talking to USC for a while now. So it sucks. He was our best assistant coach. I didn't like Rhule's response. He got interviewed. I didn't see the whole interview, but basically just sounded like it's up in the air. It's up to Mike Ekeler. There's rumors that these two butted heads, and I kind of could tell, they'd pan to the sidelines and show the celebrations, Mike Ekeler going crazy. And a few times you could kind of tell Mike Ekeler was like, all right, enough, So there's rumors that they butted heads a lot, which that just makes Matt Rhule look more incompetent. How you can butt heads with the energy guy, the best assistant coach, whose special teams won you multiple games this season. I don't understand that. You'd think Nebraska would be able to dish out the cash to keep their best assistant. But I think USC is going to nab him, so that's disappointing. But yeah, Rhule's response, essentially, it's like, he made it clear we're not going to go out and hire a new one. It's either going to be, 2 guys that we already have on staff to replace him. So the coaching carousel continues for Matt Rhule. Number 3, Dante Moore's coming back to Oregon. I watched this announcement live and was laughing as it happened because it makes Dylan Raiola look like a fool. I'm embarrassed for him. I mean, he's this offseason's Nico Iamaleava, and nobody wants that. Who knows what he's going to do, whether he, red shirts and sits behind Dante for a year. I don't think he's going to want to do that after already having 2 years under his belt. So we'll see. Might re-enter the transfer portal. Who knows? Recruiting. 4th topic, recruiting updates and rumors. So Dylan Berryman, I've talked about him before. He's my most prized recruit target that we have remaining on our board for the 2026 class. This is the type of guy that I want. I talk about it all the time. I was disappointed in our transfer portal pickups, only getting 1 4-star in the portal. Brendan Black, I would have hoped we would have gotten a plethora of those types of caliber recruits. This kid's out of high school, 2026 class. He decommitted from Texas, of course, so he's not going to go back there. It's between us and Kentucky. Damn Wildcats. They took Kenny Minchie from us. We got to take Dylan Berryman from him. One of the top defensive linemen in the country. You see his rating, 97th player overall, 12th rated defensive lineman, 4th best player in Louisiana, which is a hotbed for talent. The composite, which pulls in all the different sites, ESPN, Rivals, On3. So it really, in my mind, is the most accurate. 199th best player, 23rd overall defensive lineman, 7th best player out of Louisiana. So this is the type of guy we need to bring in for our interior defensive line, which is a major problem, as we already know. Every year, I want guys like this. Danny Odom was the first prize recruit we got, cornerback for this class. Adding this guy would only help our team recruiting rankings for the 26 class, adds more depth with all the transfers we got. We need to get this kid committed and signed. We need to beat out Kentucky. We can't lose another guy to them. He visits Kentucky this weekend. He visited Lincoln last weekend. had great things to say about the trip. It's going to be between us and Kentucky. But 6'2", 330 pounds already. Big body. Go get him, Matt Rhule. Come on, baby. So that's big. For the 2027 class, the number 1 ranked tight end, Ahmad Hudson, 2-sport athlete, basketball and football, 5-star recruit on 24/7 Sports and the Composite. So everybody thinks this kid is a 5-star, real deal, number 1 tight end on both the Composite and 24/7. So that just shows ESPN rivals, all the scouts and analysts think he's the best tight end in America. We're in his top 5. He did say it's attractive when we asked him about the success of Husker basketball, so that's going to be a factor in his decision because he's going to play both sports. Thank God for Husker basketball kicking ass, man, and as they keep winning, it's only going to help us. I talked about tight ends. We need more tight ends, young tight ends to come in because we lose Lyndon Meyer after next year. I don't like Carter Nelson. I think he's going to leave anyway after this season. Mac Markway might be changing positions. We need a kid like this. Number 1 tight end. Everybody wants him. Big, 6'6.5", 240 pounds already. He'll add bulk and muscle to that. I know Thomas Fidone and Carter Nelson were the number 1 rated tight ends, but they came out of Nebraska, so they weren't playing great competition. I think this kid coming out of Louisiana, again, tons of talent in Louisiana. He's played against the best competition. He's in the Navy All-American Bowl. We got an invite to that. So this kid is the real deal, and he could play 2 sports for us. So a long way to go before he decides, but Nebraska's definitely on his radar, so that's good news. All right, moving on to our last topic, and I want to have some fun with you guys. Trivia. All right, since we highlighted Ndamukong Suh's College Football Hall of Fame induction, it's only fair if we keep the topics about him. But I've got some trivia questions, 5 of them for you. Please answer them in the comments. Number 1, where was Ndamukong Suh out of high school? As a recruit, when we landed him out of high school, where was he? Where did he grow up? Where was his hometown? And what was his favorite sport growing up? 2, what does Ndamukong Suh's first name mean in his father's native language? This is so badass. If you guys know this, I'll be impressed. They did on College Game Day back in 2009 when he was having his Heisman contender season. They did a special on him, and they talked about this. But his name, what does Ndamukong mean in his native language? It's probably the coolest thing you'll ever hear, and it makes perfect sense for him. 3, how many Super Bowls did Ndamukong win in his NFL career? And what team or teams did he play for? 4, how many Pro Bowl seasons did he have? Played for a variety of different teams, but how many Pro Bowl seasons did he have? And last, who was the lone? So Suh was in the 2005 recruiting class. There was 1 lone Husker commit that was rated higher than Suh in that 05 class. If you guys can get that player, I will be extremely impressed. I think I follow recruiting like crazy. My dad and I do. If anyone can get this answer, I'll be impressed. Save the hardest for last. All right. So please, let me review them again. Number 1, where was Ndamukong Suh from out of high school, and what was his favorite sport growing up? What does his first name mean in his native language? How many Super Bowls did he win in his NFL career, and what team or teams was he on when he won them? How many Pro Bowl seasons did he have? And last, who was the lone Husker commit in the 05 class that was rated higher than Ndamukong Suh? Let me know in the comments, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, probably Friday, I'm going to be putting out the Northwestern preview. We play them Saturday in Evanston. I'm going to be doing an in-depth, detailed analysis, strengths and weaknesses, player stats, my predictions, and more. So tune in for that. Thanks, everybody. Like and subscribe, and please answer my trivia questions. I want to see who's as knowledgeable as I am. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, go Big Red.